All right, I would suggest we get started and get right into it. Again, a very warm welcome to everyone who joined today to hear how Edwardian saved thousands of hours using AI in reputation management and how their journey in using AI for that task looked like. Before we get into that, again, a very warm welcome to Kris, who is the Group General Manager, not at Little Big Hotels, but at Edwardian Hotels. That was our previous webinar. He'll have some more minutes to tell us a little bit about himself and Edwardian in a second. I wrote guest or host because a lot of the talking will be done by Kris today. I can do a lot of talking and how great Mara is and how good it helps you. But that might not be the trustworthiest thing for you, but hearing from a peer might be more valuable to you. And that is why a lot of the talking will be done by Kris. Before that, allow me to very briefly introduce Mara to you. Just give me 5 minutes for that, and also so you know what kind of a tool Edwardian is using and that Kris doesn't have to do a demo or something like that. So we try to be the easiest way for a hotel to get to a 100% response rate. We offer one central inbox for all of your reviews from the different OTAs, Google, Booking, TripAdvisor, Expedia, and so on and so on. We say that we offer the highest quality when it comes to AI replies. This is really where the company has its origin in natural language processing, and bringing all these capabilities that AI has to reputation management. That is where we are especially good at, kind of squeezing the last 10-20% out of large language models and any related natural language processing tools. You can send replies directly from within Mara. For Google and Booking, we're working on more direct sending integrations. And then also Mara can act as a kind of a night assistant. So overnight, Mara collects all your reviews from the different sources and makes suggestions for replies to those reviews, so that you can check them in the morning and send them from Mara, or edit them a little bit if you want, and then send them from that one central inbox. We also added review analytics in a very actionable way, so very specific insights for your hotels, not only the high level categories, and then you still have to read all of your feedback to understand what's going good and what's where improvements might be needed. So we try to give you a very actionable view on your feedback from all the different review sources. And there would be a lot more to add here. Mara is developing quite rapidly. We added other features in the last few weeks, like a competitor set, so you can compare yourself to the local competition. You can send very simple post-stay surveys that also help you generate more public 5-star reviews on, for example, Google Maps or TripAdvisor. And we help the guest using AI to write a review, an honest and genuine review, but we help them to do it much, much easier. But that really should be it. As I said in the beginning, this is focused on a peer, a colleague from the hospitality industry, helping you to learn from his experience in using AI to make the life of him and his employees and colleagues easier. And that is really where I kind of hand over to Kris, so to say. And I have brought 3 key questions to Kris here. And the first would be, what outcomes or success stories have you seen since using AI in your review management? And before that, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, about Edwardian, your situation, and where everything started. Welcome, Kris. Over to you.
Thank you, Max, and very good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar and hearing to what I have to share or like to share with you. So my name is Kris and I'm the Group General Manager of Service Operations at Edwardian Hotels London. Edwardian Hotels London own and operates 3 luxury hotels, the Londoner, which is a part of the Preferred group, as well as the Mayfair and the Edwardian Manchester, which are both a part of the Radisson Collection portfolio within Radisson Hotel Group. We have been working with Max and Mara for just about under 2 years, and we have really seen quite a lot of benefits originating from the usage of the tool. Edwardian Hotels London in the past and currently receive in excess of 10-15,000 online reviews a year. London, as pretty much everyone knows, and the UK is a very diversified, multicultural and incredible environment where a lot of our team members, including of myself, do not consider English to be their native first language. In the past, we have always struggled with the response time. We have struggled with the quality of the responses. Quality meaning, is the grammar used correct? Have we been able to truly understand what the review is about? Have we been able to answer and relate back to all the critical points that our guests would have mentioned in the reviews? So since we started using the tool, we have seen quite a lot of interesting benefits. The first most important one is the time efficiency. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but within Edwardian Hotels, sometimes we used to have this predicament where there was a very long review and we had a 3 staff member committee trying to put a response together. Maybe this should be said, maybe that should be said. Very frequently, general managers and front office managers would have had very well developed templates in their heads, and AI of my own. Thank you very much for your feedback. We truly appreciate the time you have taken to engage with us. We truly do apologize for any inconvenience it might have caused, as it is not an indicative of our high standards. You know, all of us have those. And what you would see very frequently is that whilst the review response is written, it is very repetitive. So in line with what I said before, the time efficiency of this process truly has given us a lot more freed time for our teams to do what they do best, which is serving the customers. It used to take approximately on average 5, 6, 7 minutes to write a review responses. Very frequently, the more elaborate, the more complex the review had been, the more it would have taken. This is pre-era of Grammarly, pre-era of any other spelling software. Well, with Mara, it kind of gives all of it to you in one go. What we really like about it is that not only does it generate a response, but it also gives you the summary of what it is about to write about. So the team member still has got the full control to read the suggested response and either approve it or change it. You can, I think, upvote the response as well. So you can send feedback directly back to Mara. If any of the responses are something that you wouldn't want to say to your guests, you can change the tone of voice, as you know, so you can make it formal, casual. I think that Mara can use your brand voice, so it would learn from your responses of the past, or you can use the Mara voice, which gives you the algorithm that I think learned through its own process. In essence, the time we saved in review responses is truly remarkable, and that effectively made us continue our relationship with Mara. we are looking, and we have engaged on long-term basis. We have seen great developments coming from Mara, including of what we really like is the auto responses. If you get a review from Google, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star, without any text, as it is quite frequently seen by the Google users, then you can set the automation so that the review gets responded to the following day. It gets recognized as a non-text review, so you do not see a brick of a response towards just a rating, which is quite great. Another very interesting and positive side effect is that our teams actually started improving their language skills as well. We work in, as I said, highly diversified environment with our team members coming from different backgrounds, and a lot of our team members have mentioned to us that actually Mara helps them improve their writing skills, which we were not expecting to see, but it gets to the point where we see our staff members using Mara credits to respond to an email, for example. What is important is the element of safety. We know that an online review is a publicly available resource, so copying and pasting a review response doesn't breach any GDPR. It does not, in my opinion, at least, it should not create a feeling of mistrust amongst our guests. And one could ask a question of whether guests would notice that the responses are generated by an AI system. I mean, we have been using Mara for 2 years, responded to over 50,000 reviews, and we had one guest who mentioned that the response looked like it was generated via an AI, which I think is a fair acceptance percentage of such a complaint.
So 1 out of 50,000.
Yeah, one. We got the written complaint. Yeah,
cool.
So not bad.
So by the way, I saw that someone asked in the chat if there will be a recording of that session, and there will be, so you can rewatch it, and we will share that with you. And there is also a Q&A function I forgot to mention in the very beginning within Teams. You can post questions there, and you can also send them to us anonymously if you want, and we will collect them over the time, and then in a Q&A session at the end we'll share that with Kris and ask him about his opinions on that. So you said 10 to 15 now per year, as you're the 3 or 4 hotels. That would be, just to make them do the math, I did that in parallel. Using those 6 minutes you said for a individual reply, that would be 60 to 90,000 minutes, or 1,000 to 1,500 hours. That is really also where the title is coming from, right? You shared that before the webinar with me, that you saved thousands of hours because the time is brought down so massively when using Mara to answer to the feedback.
Correct. I mean, we with the increasing cost of running hospitality business, I think it's fair to say that all hoteliers need to rethink of how we do business. If we are to make our properties profitable, we truly have to reinvest in the tech stack, get on board with digital transformation, and at least from our point of view, the tech should never be at the forefront of what we do. The tech should be playing the secondary role, the background role. The front still remains and will remain a team member. And what Mara does, it really adds up to the element of efficiency that we are able to gain. I mean, we've calculated that it translates to about 2-3 headcounts a year, which, in London terms is about 80,000-90,000 pounds per year saved on the labor, time, it would have taken to respond to these reviews. I mean, we actually opened Mara to our food and beverage outlets as well. We are looking in future to open Mara to our spa concepts. So not only do we use it for properties, but also for hotels, but also for our food and beverage outlets. And effectively, we currently have more than 15 different hospitality concepts plugged into Mara with different level of automation, with different level of smart snippets, which we will discuss later, I suppose, with different tone of voice. And it's been quite a success story for us. I mean, Edwardian likes to say that we have very deep pockets but very short hands, and to invest, we always look at every single potential partner several times. So for us to be so confident about extending our relationship with Mara for the next 2 to 3 years was quite an important milestone. And that all comes from the fact that we can see tangible efficiencies. And for us in luxury market, it is truly essential that we are able to maintain and improve the quality of our responses. And that I think sums it up quite well.
You also I just trying to wrap kind of up the answer to that question. You also talked about the team using it and using it for emails and so on in our kind of pre-interview. I think you also said that the team really loves it and they were kind of running into your door when we had that transition from the old copy and paste product to the new inbox product. And I think they couldn't use it for some hours or something like that. So they're really...
Yes. A few team members have come to me and said that Mara is the best investment that Edwardian has ever done for them, because now they can actually spend time doing other things. You see, it really depends on your business mix. We do get a lot of online based bookings. A lot of our channels are led online. And for us in London and Manchester, online reputation is critical. You know, it truly is one of the most important elements of our CX strategies. As you know, feedback loop is one of the fundamentals of a successful CX strategy for any organization, and to be able to provide response rates nearing 100% to all of your reviews without spending hours and hours and hours writing it out is truly important. What it also does, you know, very frequently in five-star hospitality back in the day, the European general manager, front of house manager answering to reviews, they probably can utilize the time better than sitting in front of the screen and just typing in reviews, unless you are in that privilege of being able to spend 2 hours a day responding to reviews. I never had that time. I could never sit as a general manager in front of the screen and respond to 30-40 reviews a day, which this effectively enables you to do. I mean, you can set up a signature so every staff member can have their own signature, which is auto-generated. And I know that, you know, we have general managers using Mara as well, because it does allow them to speed up the process. And more importantly, you know, we can still moderate the response. Of course, it is an algorithm, and it has really improved massively since when we started working with Mara to where it is right now. I mean, you guys are doing so many new improvements. I've just noticed an email today from you guys that you have introduced a comp set, and that's brand new. Go and set it up right now. So I will be able not only to use Mara, I suppose, for the review responses element, but what you're currently doing is trying to compete with the likes of Review Pro or Medallia, so that you can bring me an element of semantic analysis, concept analysis, which is quite important, because online reputation is not about responding to a review. It's about acting on the trends that you read from review responses.
And that's really funny. To maybe a quick anecdote from my side. We started, like Mara started as a company doing review analytics for consumer goods companies, and we tried to get into hospitality, but we couldn't back then, because there were all those tools already that did semantic analysis of some sort. And then kind of by accident, we played around a little bit with different prototypes. And one was a review reply generator, which in the beginning was really a copy and paste tool and super, super simple. And compared to what we have now, really not of great quality. But we learned through that, we learned that answering to reviews is a great problem, a big problem for many, many hotels. And that was kind of our entry point to that industry. And now we can also bring the knowledge we have about sentiment and analytics to that industry. So, okay, wrapping that up, let's go to the second of the three key questions, which is kind of why is it that you were able to achieve these results, which is mainly efficiency, maybe also a little bit of team satisfaction, if you will, with Mara. What's the underlying logic here?
Well, first and foremost, it's a very easy tool to use. Web-based, highly secure. I can set up as many users as I want. So, it's not user-based. It's review rate. It's a review number of reviews based calculation. The interface is very user-friendly. You don't need many clicks to respond to a review. Login, I have my passwords saved on my personal device. I open Mara. Obviously, in the past, we used to copy and paste the reviews. At the moment, they populate themselves because you guys have now been able to get APIs with Booking.com, Expedia, which is quite a remarkable achievement, because we know that the big players are very reluctant to release their APIs to a lot of organizations like yours. So the main element is that it's quite easy to get people on board. Digital transformation, I always say that the biggest challenge with any digital transformation is managing the change process. But we always used to do it like that. Why do I need to change if that other tool has worked? Well, Mara virtually bypasses this problem, because you don't really, you are still within web-based environment. Everything comes to you. All you got to do is pretty much click a few times and read it. And it's always very interesting to get that element of excitement. Okay, so what will Mara say to this? Especially when you when you do receive a complaint, especially when you have quite a difficult complaint to deal with, and then you start reading it. I mean, a lot of our team members, including of myself, have a very short attention span. So to be able to keep fully focused on a very, very, very long review sometimes tends to be quite difficult, especially when your phone is ringing, when your front office manager is telling you that there is a queue at the desk, and it in the past it was very interrupted. When we're doing back office work, because for me review responses used to be always a back office work. You got to really focus to be able to give to do justice to that review. I think that it's important that we do not undermine the importance of reviews, and we are able to focus on it, because I think that gives the respect back to the guest who actually took the time to respond and to give us their feedback. So to use Mara and help us achieve exactly the same result, but within much lower time consumption attached to it is quite a remarkable thing. I mean, as I said, people just enjoy using it. It's quite straightforward, whether you want to reset your password, whether you want to add yourself to a new property, whether you want to put a filter on. It's just very user-friendly user interface. That is really the key in my view. You just made it simple for people.
We try to. Maybe one thing that I also remember, or that we also are always very, we say we do very good, but it's always good to hear a opinion from someone using it and not having any interest in Mara other than using it for his business. What about the language quality? You talked about that a little bit in our kind of pre-interview, and there we can also already use one of the questions that we got. Why not simply use GPT? Why not simply use a kind of GPT as a copy-paste tool and generate your replies using GPT?
I think that as the thirst for AI progresses, it's very important to bring an element of governance to any AI strategy. I mean, if you look at market leaders in terms of customer relationship management, like Salesforce, for example, they started creating inward-facing AI governance bodies within their own organizations. Sooner or later, I think that organizations will be asked of what are their practices with AI, what is the data protection like, and I think that using partners like Mara rather than a truly open AI system to deliver an element of reassurance to the end customer that we don't just go into ChatGPT 3.5, which is 3 or 4.0, and start pasting your details, could help achieve that. Yes, of course, you can go to ChatGPT, copy and paste and response, and probably you will get what you're looking for. At the same time, what we have noticed with Mara is that as the algorithm is focused exclusively on hospitality-related queries, you tend to see the evolution of that large language algorithm floating towards hospitality. Mara is learning trends. I mean, let's be honest about it. All of our hotels have similar complaint types. People, you might have a unique predicament here and there, but a room too small is room too small. I don't know, a smell on the corridor is a smell on the corridor, whether it smells of X or Y makes no difference at all. What you also notice with Mara is the feature of smart snippets. So let's say that you have a city center hotel with very, very small entry-level rooms. So every time your customer would say that we've booked a double room, but it was very small, you can then program the algorithm yourself to respond in a very specific way to that review. Whilst our entry-level rooms are very small, we do offer a variety of much larger premium bedrooms that we encourage you to book next time. What we did with that tool is quite different. So we started using smart snippets for our search engine optimization practices, which is an interesting one, especially when I started speaking about it with my digital marketing team. They were very excited. Very frequently, you will hear from your marketing team that, oh, can you please use keywords in your responses so that you can come up through an organic Google or Bing search. So again, if a review response mentions great location in positive term, you can set Mara to respond in a specific way to that query. As a result of that, you're actually enhancing your SEO capacity within your review responses without having to rely on a staff member. Because if you put the SEO requirement on a staff member, it sometimes doesn't come across very natural. And Mara can put it into context, can contextualize it very well. And effectively, well, we've got SEO on pretty much all of our F&B outlets. So you've mentioned pre-theater meal. We are going to give you an SEO phrase that goes directly from our website, which then helps our positioning as well.
Yeah, nice. That I was surprised to see you do that, but it's always nice to see what people do with the stuff that we give them. As Kris said, it's intended to help you to kind of put your template, so to say, for things that pop up in your reviews regularly, and your kind of standard response to that, like the small bathroom, I don't know, for an airport hotel, and here's my explanation for that. And then Mara detects when the topic is present and then rephrases the knowledge that you gave it every time that topic pops up. But it totally makes sense to use it the way you just described it. And I really like that use of the smart snippets. So then one last key question here is, and that's maybe a little provocative, so to say, like, is it okay for a group of 5-star luxury hotels to use AI to answer guest feedback?
Guest feedback is not about the response to the review, as I said. Guest feedback is about acting upon it. It is about taking it, in my humble opinion, very, very seriously. The review response needs to be written in a way that provides quality, provides reassurance, and provides the guest with that reassurance that their voices are heard. To me, before AI, before Mara, you would have gone to any listing of any 5-star property, you will see that responses are very repetitive. People use the same phrases, whether it's a general manager, front of house manager. We all have specific capacity to speak. Not all of us are book writers and poets that we can use very freely and very elaborate words and can find a synonym to a word without repeating yourself. We were like a very, very primitive version of AI. I mean, as I said, I have in my head several templates of how to respond to guest complaints. And I think that very rarely do I meet a hotelier who would have spent time coming up with new responses every time. So to me, yes, it is okay. It is not about neglecting the review. It's about efficiently addressing the good points and the bad points. It is about providing the guest with the, as I said, reassurance that we are hearing their feedback, but more importantly, it's about acting on it and taking it very, very, very seriously. You know, if you have a big complaint, let Mara generate it. At the end of it, I would like to discuss it with you further. Please contact me on this and this email address so that we can talk about it, as I would really like to make it up to you. So you can really still make it personal. You still have a choice of making it fully autonomous or automated, or you can make a choice of still reviewing the response before it gets sent. So one of the questions here is, will there be more direct response possibilities apart from Google and Booking? I mean, we have, for example, said that we only want an automated response to come up from Google, no words, 5-star review only, because we wish to reserve the right to support the AI with an additional human input in it. And I think it's very important, as I said, it is our staff member that is at the forefront of it. Mara is a tool helping us with efficiency, with quality, with understanding, with the right summary. But effectively, I believe that inevitably all of us are destined sooner or later to go on the automation route, because you know it's more and more to acquire good staff. We do have massive staff shortage here in the UK. It is more and more difficult to find qualified hospitality staff members. It becomes more and more expensive to run hospitality business, and we need to find ways to maintain our quality or improve our quality, parallelly coming with seeking for efficiencies wherever we can. I mean, you know, and AI at the moment seems to be somewhat an answer to it. You know, there are many other ways in which you can use AI, not only necessarily GPT like this is. But as I said, for us, we were one of the first adapters of this within our market, and I know that I have had a number of colleagues from the industry contacting me about it, and I have referred them to Max, because, as I said, we all would like to have 20 staff members writing incredible responses to reviews, but we can't live in the denial really that this is not going to happen.
In the end, my answer to that would also always be Mara. Mara is a tool, and you can use it, any tool, in the right or in the wrong way, so to say. And the right way would be taking care of the feedback, and letting the tool help you do some of the writing, but in the end, you're responsible for the reply that's being sent. And the tool can help you to minimize the time drastically. It could theoretically, even though we would not recommend that, it could theoretically, really, you could automate everything when it comes to replying to reviews. I wouldn't do that personally, but you could. In the end, it's a tool, and you have to use the tool in a right way. I've seen the questions in the public chat. We will come to those. We also received some questions through the Q&A functionality, and I would now also kind of transition to that Q&A, and maybe the first let's see, potentially simple question. Was it a big deal to get Mara up and running, and how much work was that for you?
Not at all. I mean, it's essentially plug and play. I mean, again, I don't want to sound like I work for Mara, and I think I'm starting to sound like
I also don't want you to sound like that.
I really don't. I'll be very honest with you. How did our journey start? I got a ping on LinkedIn from Boris. His name was one of your sales managers. Hi, check this out. I've got this new tool. Here are 10 credits for you to use. So I clicked on it, got logged on, no fuss whatsoever. I saw it, called my CEO, Indy, check this out. Look at this. Wow, right, great, let's get this in. 2 weeks later, we were up and running. I don't think there was any onboarding process, really. I mean, you did ask us a few questions. You've got your team helping set this up. You've got the images. I mean, it's all internal. Mara is an internal, inward-facing tool. You don't present it to the customer. So you all you need is an admin from your end. Someone who can actually track the usage, someone who can help you set up users. I mean, I am quite fortunate because I have a team of incredible geeky personalities who love IT. I work in service operations, so we try to align our tools, processes, people together, and we do have quite a high focus on the tech stack that we use, contact centers, CRMs, feedback loop, obviously the more traditional approach towards PMS, POS, and so on and so forth. And to me, all of it needs to come into the customer-centric approach of any organization, especially hospitality. I mean, it sounds almost rhetorical. I mean, yeah, we are in hospitality, we are customer-centric, but you would be surprised very frequently of how many legacy processes we have that are hindering that approach. Very frequently, we end up building customer journey around the process rather than adjusting the process around the customer journey. And Mara is a great example of how we have been able to break through that perception of a response always needs to be handwritten, especially when it's a 5-star hotel. It really isn't about that, and I think that kind of answers that. So yeah, it's very straightforward and easy to set this up.
And we also tried to, I mean, you started with the copy and paste generator, but we also then did that transition to the inbox, and we also tried to keep it very, very simple with the inbox. Like every one of you can, if he or she wants, open a trial on his own on our website, and that's really done in 5 minutes. And that's not a founder exaggeration, but this is really true. One other question was, You said that you're getting 10,000 reviews per year. Does it also make sense for smaller properties to use Mara from your point of view?
Sure, because if you have a smaller property, you have fewer staff members. You know, the rate. I mean, if you are fortunate enough to have 100% or 80% of your business mix originating from your direct channels, you know, and you are not reliant on Booking.com, Expedia, and other third parties, you know, then maybe if you only care about Google and you get 5-6 reviews a day, you know, I think that you guys have different pricing models. I'm not too sure what it is like right now, but as I said, we for your online reputation is important because your reliance on online channels must be quite high.
Yeah.
You know, and that needs to be said. You know, if I was running a hotel in the city center of London, where 80% of my guests are repeat coming through direct channel, ideally booking voice or email or on my brand web, where I don't have to commit a high cost of sale towards that transaction, you know what? I really wouldn't care about that, but
yeah, and
but,
a good
we know.
good rule of thumb is using the 6 minutes. Kris also said earlier, 10 reviews is 1 hour of work for you doing it manually. So that gives you a rough feeling of how much time you need to invest to answer all of those reviews manually. Let's switch to questions in the chat. The 2 first are more or less towards us, I'd say. First, let's do one for you. Are you using online reputation only within the online marketing environment or also for quality management? So is Mara extracting the data a hotel chain needs for improving processes within the hotel?
Right. So it for me, online reputation is not marketing. It's more about reputation. Mara would mine publicly available information, which is quite important to note. I would not at this stage try to API Mara or any other AI system to, you know, have access to my guests' personal information. That is not really the purpose of the tool. That really needs to be said. We do have our guest satisfaction surveys that carry guest name, last name, room number, dates, and so on and so forth. And that is a separate entity altogether. That's your inward-facing feedback. That allows you to quantify much more. You can have arrival score, departure score, breakfast score, net promoter score, guest satisfaction score. You know, you can collect geographical information. You can collect demographical information about the guests. Here you're talking about publicly available information. A review can be your hotel was great, 5 star, or your hotel was rubbish, 1 star. Quantify that. So what Mara does, to answer the second part of this question, they have now brought in the semantic analysis, which seems to be AI-led. What we started doing is, because of course we use other tools as well. I mean, we use, I think I can mention that we use Review Pro for our guest satisfaction surveys. So what we now started doing is comparing what Mara trends are presenting through an online review analysis, and what do I get from Review Pro within their own semantic analysis and through my guest satisfaction survey analysis. And you will very frequently see that the key trends will always align.
Yep.
So if your breakfast needs improvement, you very frequently see that aligning across the 3 platforms. So again, it's important that the tool is used not only to respond to reviews, but also to measure and identify trends. It's more difficult to capture a trend through an online review because, you know, you don't have specific questions. How was your arrival experience? How was your departure experience? You can do it through your guest satisfaction surveys, but it's very important that you take both into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah, and to add to that, as we just told you, we're in the market for 2 years now. And answering to reviews was really our starting point, and then we built analytics around it, the inbox around it, and so on and so on. So Mara is really going forward in 6 months from now. Mara will definitely have evolved in some of the directions. Maybe also as a bridge to the other two questions, ChatGPT 3.5 was only launched in November 2 years ago, so it didn't exist when Mara started helping Edwardian. So does Mara use current LLM technology? Of course, that's kind of our main job, to use everything, not only large language models. You need a lot more natural language processing technology around large language models to bring out the quality that we try to bring. And our job is really to stay on top of the situation, to always update things and tools we are using and combine them in a way so that the highest possible quality of answers is being delivered to the customer. And one part of that is using the most up-to-date large language models, and also using different large language models for different tasks along the technical pipeline. I'll keep it at that. And then will there be more direct response possibilities apart from Google and Booking? Yes, we are working on that actively. As a next source, we're trying to connect TripAdvisor now. And then also other sources. We're doing that step by step. But there will definitely be more direct sending functionalities. Currently, we try to keep it simple still, with a copy and paste button that will copy the reply to your clipboard and open the platform kind of in the right place for you to paste and send the answer. And then looking at the time, maybe one last question. That was coming from, no, we had this, we had this, we had this. I think we got all the questions. Yeah, I think so. Yes, which platforms we work with Mara? That's the same I just answered. With that, I'd say thank you very much, Kris, for being part of that webinar and for sharing your experience with the audience. If any of you is more interested in some more details or a personalized demo, feel free to contact me. Kris, thanks a lot for your time. Enjoy the rest of the day. I hope the weather in London is okay.
It's great, actually.
Okay, great. And to the rest of the webinar, enjoy your Tuesday. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Thank you, Mats.